business analyst, project manager, product manager. What really is the difference between these three roles? That's what we're looking at today. Let's clear up that confusion in this edition of 100 Days of Business Analysis. Don't forget that this is a series, so subscribe to this channel so that you can continue with the rest of the series. We're going to clear up the confusion by using an example from Mama Laide's amala joint. And in case you're watching this channel but you don't know what amala is, it's one of the best foods that you've ever seen. It's a local dish that is served in Nigeria, in the Yoruba-speaking part of Nigeria to be precise. And it is like the best thing that you ever saw. So the business analyst is that guy or that lady that finds out what customers actually want and what problems need fixing. The project manager is the person who will make sure that that fix is done on time and within budget. But the product manager is there to determine why the amala joint exists and what needs to be done to make that amala joint stand out among several competitors. So let's look at that a little further. Mama Laide is experiencing a challenge. Our customers are complaining that the service is too slow. She thinks that the solution to that is to hire more cooks. However, she decides to let a business analyst take a look first before she goes ahead. And the business analyst talks to customers, also observes the different processes, and finds out that the real problem is with the stove Iyalaide is using. It is too small and it breaks down often. That is what really slows down the cooking process. In other words, to solve the problem, Iyalaide just needs a better way of cooking. If she had not brought in a business analyst, she would have hired more cooks. And then she would still have the same problem. And even though she would have spent more money and brought in a more expensive overhead, she would still have the same fundamental problem. So how does the project manager come in? Now we know that the problem is with the stove, and we know that we need to install a new cooking unit, perhaps a more extensive gas cooking unit. So a project manager comes up with a plan, how to buy the new cooking unit, how to get it installed, how to ensure that that process brings the smallest possible form of interruption to operations, implying that the amala joint is not closed to customers, but the change takes place at the back end. The project manager also considers options like hiring a temporary helper while all of that is going on, so that business operations can still continue seamlessly. And of course, the project manager manages the costs involved in all of this. It mustn't go over budget. So imagine that this business did not bring in a project manager. The cooking unit might arrive late. There might be installation delays. There might be pauses in operations, or even the need to completely close operations for the time of the installation. And then the costs might also go overboard. Now let's look closely at the role of the product manager in this. The product manager comes in and says, why are we cooking just amala? Why don't we diversify the set of soup options that we're providing with our amala, and as well diversify our menu? Let us include jollof rice, which is a local favorite in Nigeria. And so the product manager sees that Iyalaide's vision is really about providing foods that are considered to be favorites in the region and making them easily accessible to customers. The product manager therefore works on creating a menu that reflects that. So imagine that there was no product manager. The joint would remain basic. It would just be an amala joint, and they would lose out on the chance to expand operations and attract more customers. Just by the way, there are several ways that could also have played out. The product manager might realize, for instance, that they have a competitive advantage for amala and then find ways of enhancing the amala offering such that all that joint would produce is amala, but then it would be the best amala in the whole country. Okay, that's just by the way. But why do these three roles matter? Because without the business analyst, the problem remains misunderstood. Without the project manager, the plan falls apart. And without the product manager, there is no vision or growth. Let me put that in another way. The business analyst is asking, what is the real problem? The project manager is saying, how and when do we fix it? And the product manager is saying, why are we doing this? What else are we meant to be doing? If this has been meaningful to you, don't forget to click on the subscribe button so that you can get the rest of the series. This is Business Analysis in 100 Days. And don't forget that I teach business analysis. You can get started with my BA 101, which is a short course that helps you get started with business analysis. So head over to businessanalysiscoach.com and you'd find that course and other courses there. I teach certification programs for the British Computer Society. So you can get started with those courses. businessanalysiscoach.com. I hope to see you tomorrow.